Hello. Okay, so
Hi,
yeah,
ladies.
just
Hi,
saying,
friends.
this is our
Hi.
first call of the new year.
2025.
Yeah,
Woo woo!
Hey.
I think,
it's so
like
crazy.
Francis, how you were like, it doesn't even feel like a new year. I think it's like when you're in entrepreneurship, it just kind of is like a big blur, but it's also just a continuous, a
Yeah,
continuous road. So it's like we never stop.
no, no, for real. Like the new year, I feel like whenever I was working a traditional job, I was like, oh, cool. I'm like in the traditional way of like, I'm going to set New Year's goals and I'm going to do this and this and that. And like this season right now, especially like getting cold in Florida, like I'm sure it's cold where you guys are already, but like I'm feeling like honing in on really big goals for this year that I can sit with now, like sit and plan now, but not try and execute because it's the new year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I feel like right the second people are like, oh, gotta execute my New Year's goals because it's New Year's, and then it's like they burn out. Like I'm in currently like personally, I'm in a position where I want to plan my New Year's goals now and then plan how I'm going to execute them throughout the year, like going with the seasons kind of thing. So,
Yeah. I
what
love
about
that.
y'all?
Same. I feel like I do a lot of reflecting towards the end of the year. And also, there's like, of course, family time. So I also just take that time. But
Hmm.
yeah, I do a lot of reflecting. And towards the beginning of the new year, yeah, it's kind of like, okay, this is how I want the end of this year to look. And how do I get there from here? So it's like almost like a reverse engineering type of thing. Um, and I mean, like you said, most people will burn out by like what, February, March. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I started strong, and then they just
Right.
fizzle out. And it's like,
Dude, the
come
percent I
December,
heard,
where are you at?
9% of people. 9%. That's not good, guys.
Yeah.
9% of people
9%.
follow through. We're
Oh
not doing it
yeah.
right as a
Wow.
society.
You said
No,
Something's
nine?
happening if 9% of us are making it to our goals. Like, what?
That's
that's
wild.
actually
That's
crazy.
not
Yeah,
good.
that's wild. No, that's crazy. And it's true though, because we set these like unreachable goals for ourselves. Like I said, I used to be the same when I was in that mindset of just like new year, new me. But it's like that's not even the way the seasons are working. Like the winter, I was just looking at a post on Instagram, like it's like winter solstice, right? I don't know anything about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is right now. Like the time of like reflecting, hibernating, like planning instead of trying to execute. Like it's not hit the ground run time, you know? Like it's like focus in on what you want, craft up your goals, and then like,
Yeah, I've heard
execute,
of people
execute.
breaking it down in quarters of 3-month chunks because when you do that, you have like these, like you hit March and you're like, okay, are we on track? Are we off track? And you're evaluating and you can realign to the goal versus like
Yes.
next December, you're like, yo, I didn't lose that 50 pounds. What happened?
I was supposed to hit the gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I like that quarterly thing where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
evaluate. What did we get done? What did we do? How did we progress or not progress? Yeah.
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 Yeah. I like that too because, like you said, Nettie, it's like you have, 90 days or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, we reached this. What did we do in that first quarter? And then you're like, okay,
Mm.
so since we accomplished this in the first quarter, so now we can switch to, yeah, thumbs up.
Where's the
Can you
thumbs
see
up come
that?
from? What does that
Yeah.
mean?
I don't know. The fireworks
Yeah.
might be going
Oh,
off
like I
pretty
think it
soon too.
like
Yeah, it
yeah,
says
reacts to
Yeah.
yeah. That's so funny.
but anyways, yeah. So then you can kind of like, okay, we didn't hit this goal in this first quarter, but let's
Yeah, what
strategize
did
and
we do?
then
Let's applaud
right,
the things we did. Let's
exactly.
reevaluate
Yeah.
and pivot.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like.
I like
Yeah.
that approach. And then, again, you shoot for the moon and then you land amongst the stars. So you're still moving the needle forward and you're still
Yeah.
accomplishing those goals. They may look a little bit different, but you're a lot
Yeah. And
closer than if you're like
you're,
go,
yeah.
go hard and then you just fall
I
right
think
off.
people underestimate the little habits that stack. Like
Oh,
everyone's
Yes,
doing like the big thing. I'm gonna buy the house. I'm gonna do the thing. But like the little things every day is what ends up with the big thing. But like nobody looks
absolutely.
at the
Yeah.
small things. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Because you're like
1000%.
you're setting yourself up for burnout when you set yourself up for higher expectations. And with the burnout, like touching on burnout and entrepreneurship as a mom, that can burn out really quickly. Like you can fizzle out quick if you're not careful and you set really big goals and really big expectations for yourself because yeah, it's hard to mom, be an entrepreneur, and then also live your life in between and like do the things that you want and not fully stress. And I feel like that's kind of where we end up if we set way too big of goals for ourselves. Like you said, the small habits are where it's at. I mean, for me personally, like I was feeling burnt out as a new mother, trying to figure it all out, trying to like set all these, I had all these expectations set on myself to reach X amount of goals. And it's good to have goals, but like reach these like far from big goals. And I was in turn judging myself, in turn doubting myself, like just um not like going anywhere. I was actually like standing still, I feel like. And yeah, when I started doing small things instead, like just literally taking a step into the unknown, like with this tallow and things, guys, like I did not think I was going to be out here whipping tallow for the community of my town, but here I am, and it's like it's somehow leading back to like exactly what I wanted. I'm home working for myself. I'm still repping the things that I care about. Like I'm keeping my integrity, you know? So it's like the small things, like and even if it's like that doesn't make sense right now, but it's like, yeah, it does. God's like yeah, it does make sense. You'll see.
And I love that you are honestly like this is that surrender piece that
Mm,
we've talked about before, but you surrendered and you were like, you know what?
mm,
It might not make a lot of sense, but it feels right. So I'm just going to go with that. And look at where it's leading you. Like, that's
yeah.
incredible.
Hmm.
So freaking
It's so crazy.
I'm so
Like,
hyped for you,
like,
dude. Like, I'm
yeah,
so freaking hyped.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
I don't know for our audience. Um, yeah, if you want to share a bit more, Francis.
Okay, so beginning of the year, okay, May, I had my baby. We'll just start there. I had my baby in May, Harper, and I had been like, I had fully gone online for that. And I was wanting to be like a wellness advocate, wellness coach for Enagic specifically. I was like really setting expectations that I was going to hit Enagic hard, and I kind of got toxic with myself. And so I was doubting myself. I was not taking the right steps. And then I met these wonderful people. Um, and it is a couple that I'm now working with. They're basically my health coaches and mentors, and they are also in the business of Enagic. They're they don't even really do the business actually. They just own a Kangen machine and they've had it for 13 years and they have an affiliate code because they're already health coaches. And yeah, long story short, God made that alignment. And here we are today. I have like my best friend, she's like my sister now, and we've created this company called Tallow and Things. And so we've just been moving what we thought is a slow pace. We're like, okay, we're going to do this, build our business in the background, and just like have this to serve the community. And it's just like been on a fast track ever since. And we've been doing like it all started with the markets. Like it's really nice because I had to connect with the market anyways, because we were sharing about Kangen water there. And it was just like worked out perfectly. We could get another tent in and or work under the same tent. And yeah, this tallow things business is like really popping off. So it's like,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
it's been it's been crazy, but it's been so fun. Like yesterday, we were actually supposed to have this meeting yesterday, but I had to reschedule because I had a meeting with a local health food store to possibly get our product on their shelves. They're very excited about it. They have two stores actually, so they're wanting to get it on both stores' shelves. And so we were talking numbers and like we were basically interviewing them, which is such a crazy cool position because it's like you think you'd go in there and like we're begging to be on their shelves, but they were essentially begging us to be on their shelves because it's like tallow is the new thing. Like you were saying earlier, like tallow's totally coming back. And it's so weird how the world goes in cycles because like my abuela and my grandparents on my dad's side, like were making soap with tallow. They were making lotions with tallow. And it's like now it's like a new thing, but it's all the hype. And I'm so glad it's coming back because I've always been interested in skincare and like its health is just as important outside as it is inside. And so what
Absolutely.
you're applying on the outside, like, what you have on your environment, if you have fragrance, if you have chemicals, like that's going to affect your mental, that's going to affect your hormones, it's going to affect your drive to do anything like outside of, you know, the things that you feel like you have to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
where
think
we're
it's really
at.
incredible too because you are making it and so you know what's going in it versus like the
Yeah.
things that we buy on the shelves, like we don't know where that came from. We're
Mm-mm.
just
Yeah.
trusting the companies that made it and we all know how that's going.
And more
Right.
people
Yeah.
want that. Like clearly
Hmm.
this meeting went the way it went because there's a demand.
Right.
Yeah.
People want to know, oh, look, that's the person that made it. I know what they put in it. That's the cow down the street that it came from.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
people want
Yeah.
that.
And
Right.
that's the cool thing too, is like we're also people supporting people. Um, so it's like our local farm that we source from, it's just a man. He's like a man of God. He's got a family like of five or more. I think he has like six little ones. And his farm, they're just happy, healthy cows. Like they have meat there and like we source our meat from there as well. Like that's where how we feed our family. And we're just like people helping people like this farm. I didn't even know about this farm and I've lived in New Smyrna my whole life. It's right in DeLand. So it's like it was only 20, 30 minutes from me. And now we're just like we're we're bringing a lot of business to them, which is amazing. And then we're only using their grass-fed, grass-finished cows. And it's like that's a really important thing that I've just learned about. Like a lot of, farms say they're grass-fed and then they're not actually grass-finished. And so the grass-finished part is like really what people are wanting and what people are looking for. Because if they're grass-fed, that means that the finishing isn't necessarily like 100% grass. So you're getting other things like so it's
That's a
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So what I'm
It's
learning
so
about
cool
all
how
that.
people are like going back to
Mm,
like,
yeah.
what our grandparents, the ancestors, like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
as a
Getting back to
society, we
basics.
want to move forward with technology and all these things, but we find like the less we get away from nature, the less we get away from being in contact with our food and our resources, like the less happy we are, the less, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? The less healthy
Oh,
we are. Like, I think it's clicking
yeah.
for like ever since 2020, everyone's like, wait a minute.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
And
selling points that we
what's
were
so
sold
cool,
aren't clicking anymore, you know?
what's so cool is like I really enjoy the fact that it's clicking in that way. Like we have new age AI technology, like the platform to promote ourselves, to brand ourselves, to do anything we want. Like AI technology, our phones, like having these at the palm of our hand is so big and so many people, like families, don't realize it until like, they're just scrolling on their phone. But like that's like equivalent to if you were to own your land back in the day and you were to sell people cattle, or like if you were in the agriculture business, like that's equivalent to having your own farm on your hand. Like you can the way I'm explaining it, I hope it makes sense. But like you can create anything you want on your phone and you can sell and have your own job through your phone. And then also having like the nature part come back. Like again, my abuela was using tallow. My grandparents were using
Right.
tallow. So it's like them combining is like even more the powerful because we have a way to share about it
Yeah, I
instead of
see
just
what
like
you're saying. Like I
blanketing.
feel like when done correctly, right? When
Yeah.
not used to scroll and waste our time or only consume, right?
Yeah.
Because
Mm,
it's
That's
fun to
that's the
consume. It's fun
shift.
to shop. It's fun to find the tallow, find you and buy the tallow, but like, yeah, it can
Yeah.
be
It is.
yeah.
detrimental, but then it can be
Yeah.
so beneficial when done in a
That's
healthy
And
way.
even with like Kangen water, like I feel like that's another thing. Okay, yes, Enagic is a 50-year-old company, right? That's been like 50 years ago, but like that Kangen means return to origin. So like returning back to that and then being able to share that on social media is like
But share
it's
it at
so
such a
powerful.
crazy
Yeah,
such a
because
like
like
beautiful
crazy
even
full
amount of
circle.
exposure, right? To
Yeah.
where
hmm
like the people that are like at the top of our business that were like, yeah, we started knocking on doors and doing
hmm
presentations.
Well,
And now
Yeah,
they're
and
like,
then
yeah,
I
when the
just do it
business
from my
shifted,
couch.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
now then the business shifted from like just knocking on doors and doing these in-person
in
demos
person
to
demos,
now
yeah.
being able to do it online. I mean, look, we're here
Literally.
right
Yeah,
now because of technology, and
yeah,
I think that it's really cool that it has shifted into that way because now we can just like reach so much more people in other countries, and it is kind of like I said, best of both worlds. We're connecting through technology, through the internet. So we're using that as a tool rather than
mm,
like,
That's the word.
a
Using it as a
yeah,
tool, right? Yeah.
yes, because we're using that to connect us. And that's where, I mean, that's human nature is like we thrive off of connection. And so when we're losing that and we cut that connection, we feel lost. And so, like, I
yeah,
think that it's so beautiful now that I think this new age is realizing that like let's not lose our roots and let's not get away from like nature and the basics. But also we have this amazing technology that we can now mesh the two, and it's just like full circle. It's so beautiful, and I love that
yeah.
we are in that realm, and we're like that generation that's doing that now. It's like
Connecting the
doing
two
it,
things.
Mm.
yeah. So we're
And
not
what's
just getting
cool,
so far removed.
yeah, what's cool about what you said too is like, yeah, we are all here because of technology, but technically, like us three are all here because of Enagic, because of Kangen water and the way to work online, right? Like that was our in. And now we've like branched and like find like for instance, I'm making tallow. Like I'm not a full Kangen distributor. And for a minute there, like I was taking on that as like almost like a burden, like, oh, I'm just a Kangen water distributor. I'm just this. But it's like it's so beyond that. And that was my in to realize that, like I am a Kangen water distributor, but I'm also my own person and these are my values, and that's just what fits right in my like my brand or my values, like so cool how we can share that on social media and then also like, you know, find the collective that feels the same, but also just doesn't know how to do it yet. Like they're struggling and they want that help. So that's so cool.
Yeah. And to also like kind of leeway that into the fact that we're able to connect every week. And like
Mm,
as moms at work from home, sometimes it can really be isolating. And like I
yeah.
mean there's some days I'm not gonna lie, there's some days that I literally will not leave the house. And
Yeah.
it just happens that way.
Yeah.
And so to be able to connect with other people and to, talk about momhood, motherhood,
Yeah.
to talk about motherhood, to talk about business and mindset and all of this, like, I think that it's such a powerful thing that we have here that we're just able to connect like that. And
And it all ties together,
yeah,
momhood, entrepreneurship, mindset, business, like it's all one thing that just keeps you learning. Like it teaches you how to lead your kid. Like it teaches you how to teach your kids. It gives you more the opportunity to have more time with your kids to homeschool, for instance. Like that is such a big blessing that we all have is to be able to say yes to homeschooling. Like
yeah,
and it's like the mindset around that, like we are constantly learning in our entrepreneurship journey, or at least I am. I know you guys are too, but it's like constantly having to mindset tweak and like, okay, what is a limiting belief? Like what's not true and what's true? What's holding me back as a mother? What's holding me back as a business? Like it's like the worlds, they go hand in hand. So
oh,
it's so great.
1000%. it is like I used to say before I was a mom, I would say like entrepreneurship is the biggest mirror you will ever look into because it is reflecting like your mindset, your limiting beliefs, and it forces you to grow. It forces you to grow through all of that. Or like your success will literally dictate, I mean, not dictate, but will kind of reflect back to you what's happening. And
Hmm.
which I also know like that's why sometimes we take it so personal because it is like
Yeah.
it is a true
It's a
reflection.
direct reflection.
Of
But
yeah,
now that I'm a
absolutely.
mom, motherhood, parenthood is absolutely the same because you see your child is reflecting right back to you, like everything
Yep.
that you are, the monkey see, monkey do. They're
Mm,
watching you, they're watching your every move. And like, that's something that I'm learning now too is like, wow, he's watching everything that I do. And
Everything.
it's
everything.
so funny because
Everything.
yeah, like Nettie, you have the older child, so you're like, I already know what y'all are
Yeah,
going through.
like
We're
I
like
have a
the 7,
5-year-old
8 months.
who looks just like me, so it's kind of funny to the extent of my mirror.
You're like,
It's a literal
yeah,
mini me. But yeah, like oh man, the way you have to check yourself.
Mm,
yeah,
And not because you're trying to be perfect, because that's just,
mm,
we're humans. It's not gonna happen.
yeah,
But it's just, I don't know, man, like how quickly you have to kind of like self-correct. Because when you don't, like you see that fester in your child and you don't want that, right? So you're like,
mm,
I don't know, sitting with their feelings, you're saying sorry. I think that's one thing that like
mm,
I had fantastic parents, but I did not hear the word sorry. Like, and
oh,
yeah,
I don't think it was out of ill intent. I don't think it was malicious, but it was cultural. Like I'm Hispanic. Like they show being
that
sorry a
ego,
different way.
yeah,
They start
yeah, that
cooking for
ego.
you. They start cleaning maybe, but you ain't gonna get a
A
sorry. You're not gonna hear
confession, yeah,
an apology. So for me, that was, that has its effects. So
it's been
that's one of my
humbling.
top three. Like I'll screw up, but I'll sit with her and apologize.
yeah.
Kids need to see that, adults are not the end all be all gods.
Yeah,
You can, and I have my daughter call me and my husband out when we're wrong. Hey,
Mm,
mm,
you said, like for example, this is an example. My husband would tell my daughter, "Hey, we don't hide in the clothes in the store. We need to be able to see you at all times." My husband was trying to be funny, hid from my daughter in some clothes. Hey, Dad, we're not allowed to do that. And I was like, "Oh, she got you." And
called you
my
out.
husband
she's
proceeds to
right.
apologize because, do you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
something silly, but at the same time, if you want her to speak to you respectfully, guess what? You're not going
Mm,
to be yelling at her. You're not going to be disrespecting her the way
right.
that many people do. They talk down to kids.
Right.
Mm,
You're modeling that, right? How
Yeah.
do you expect to? So we do a lot of you respect us, but you get the respect right back.
Right.
mm,
I love that because
that's so big.
it's so important. And like a lot of our parents, like, or, the generations before us, they would just say, because I said so,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
and it's like, then
yeah,
it implants in a child's mind, like, oh, that's the authority figure. Like, I just have to do
I'm
it
gonna go
because
ahead
they
and
said
like
so.
insert something real quick on that one
Yeah.
because do we want kids that follow rules no matter what?
That part. And that is what we
That's
are
my chills. That's my
almost.
chills.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're
That scares the
unintentionally
shit out of me.
teaching that to them.
Excuse my language.
yeah,
Terrifies me to have a kid that just complies. That
Yes.
puts
mm,
them in
And
danger. That puts them in danger of their peers. Like,
yeah.
mhm,
that's not the kid I'm raising.
right.
And also makes them an employee, like, which is
Yeah.
And
crazy.
you're not challenging your manager when they're abusing a, they're in a situation of power and they can abuse you. They can be abusive, not, physically, whatever, but like
Yeah,
they can abuse your time. They can abuse X or Y or Z. Are you going
Right.
to stand up to that and know your worth and walk away?
Right.
Or advocate for
yeah.
yourself? Like
Right. That's the part
And
that
even,
if I don't teach her how to advocate now, how is she going to do it?
mm,
yeah. And then
it's
even
gonna be
like,
so easy for her to advocate as an adult
mm,
because
Mhm.
she's been doing it since she started talking.
I
yeah.
love that. I
And that
Like,
love
puts her in the shoes of determining how her future is going to go, like how
that.
she's going to make her future based off of what she wants instead of what everybody else wants, right?
Mm,
Like it's so easy to fall into the what everybody else wants. This is how everybody thinks I should live my life. Like this is how I should live my life according to society or, the way my family is run. But it's like when that's such a beautiful thing. Like we are unschooling, unteaching, unworlding our kids to like actually have the confidence, be bold, like stand up for themselves in a way that's respectful, but also like they know their morals and they stand true with where they believe and what they've been taught.
and
It's
it's
like
not wrong to
I
challenge.
wasn't,
It's not punished to challenge.
right,
yeah,
right.
You
Like
know
yeah,
you
what I
said,
mean?
aligning with your having to know your morals and your values, staying true to those always. And then if something
mm,
doesn't align with that, then you're not scared to challenge that. Why? Question it. Why? Because this
Hmm.
is what feels right, like morally right. How come now you're telling me something different? Let me
mm,
just, put a little pin in that. And coming from me, I was the good girl. I followed the rules. I never questioned authority because I was taught that. My
yeah,
mom, my mom's mom, it was like because I said so. And with my mom, she would then tell us, like, let me explain why, but still because it said so. But this
Yeah.
is why I said so. So now,
yeah,
like, our generation, for me, like, taking that a step further is like, it's okay to question, it's okay to challenge. But like you said, Francis, in a respectful way and not, feeling entitled like, a little
It
spoiled
doesn't
brat.
have to be. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, or
yeah,
just the simple fact that no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
yeah,
That's it. It's a
Yeah.
no.
mm,
Yeah.
I let her say no to adults,
Mhm.
in a respectful way.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
it's all
yeah,
about
that's so
boundaries.
big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
And
and
freedom,
because
go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You go.
I was just gonna kind of go into because Nettie, you homeschool now.
yeah,
I'm curious
it's
about how that is
I
because
don't know what I'm doing.
I
We don't know what we're doing over here. We're just doing it. Like
Right.
I went to school for a long time. I got my master's. I checked all the boxes. I did the public school. It wasn't a bad experience. I liked school. I was a nerd. Like it was fine. But as I became a parent and I said, like, I don't know, becoming a mother, being pregnant made me question things. I've always been kind of like a free thinker, but I'm like, there was so much that I questioned. Like, I needed to like understand why I'm doing things. Like there was so much of my life that I'm like checking boxes and it worked out. Like I have a career, like I'm good, but some things I'm not so good with, right? So like what do I want for my kid? Why do I want it to look different? So I started questioning, why do most little kids eat mac and cheese? Okay, I probably don't want to feed my kid that. That's just an
Mm.
automatic, that's what you feed kids, right? Like why do
Chicken
we
tenders
just
and
put them in
freaking
public
fries.
school? Why do they go to school when they're 2 or 3? Like what? Like, why are we pushing letters when they're so young? When
Mm,
genuinely, I believe play is the work of the child. Like, I believe that
yeah.
to my core. Um, I I really struggle with they need to learn this by this age. I don't like
Yeah.
it. I don't see the value in it. I think it makes kids feel like their intelligence isn't worthy, right? Because
Well, also, it's like it goes back to our start of our conversation. Like it sets up that expectation for that kid. And then if that kid fails that
right,
expectation, even in public school, like you feel like a failure, you feel like you're
you're
not smart
behind, you're
enough. I
behind,
was,
you're behind.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like
Why am I
it's you,
behind?
I was in
Because you
intensive reading.
decided X needs to be learned by this age. Like I just
Mm,
don't, I don't know. I've seen what
Yeah.
fostering interest does, And the biggest thing for me in homeschooling, like my own core belief is kids love to learn. You're never going to meet a
Mm,
kid that like, yeah, their love for learning can be, honestly, it can be ruined at school, or it may not, but it can be. And so kids love to learn. You have to approach that delicately, because if you kill that spark, it I don't know. I really struggle with that. I don't even know what I'm
I
saying, but like,
I see
chime
that.
in.
I see
no.
what you're, yeah, I see what you're meaning. Like just in this, in the fact of like with my son, when we are sitting
Mm,
here on the floor and for example, right now he's kind of like getting into that crawling phase. And he's he's starting to scoot. And so I'll help him and, like push him on his knees and he does tummy time and like he gets frustrated. There's sometimes where he gets frustrated, but it's up to us to continuously try to make it fun and also
mm,
know like, okay, I think you have had enough time. You're showing me, those cues.
yes.
Like, yeah, I'm done for this time.
Hmm.
Let's visit it later so that we're not just like go go go. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. And
eight
then
hours
Yeah.
at a
yes,
desk.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's like
Right.
knowing
Right.
when and keeping it fun and also like showing them like you're doing so amazing just by trying. And I think
Yeah.
like that's the bit where yeah, you have to keep that spark alive
At their
because it's
core, they
so
love learning.
beautiful. Yes.
There is a time where, nobody has malice, nobody has ill intention to stop kids from enjoying it, but
Right.
there are systems in place where it doesn't foster that anymore. When
Right.
you're trying to mass produce people, all these kids learning the same thing, you take that away. You take the possibility of fostering. My kid loves science. She wants to do science all day.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna
Hmm.
drill math into her? Why would I drill math into her when all she wants to do is science? And I'm not saying I don't teach math, but it's very, very like there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Well, also,
Um,
every child is different. Every child learns their own way, they grow their own way. Like, every child is going to have something different to be interested in. And so that's my opposition with public school is like every child is treated the same. And if they're not on the same line of whatever
right.
school's agenda has, like that curriculum is not giving leeway for each kid to be different. And then if you're slower at something, then you're putting in intensive reading.
And
Like
then
I
you have
was
to
in
feel
intensive
bad. Then
reading.
you have to feel
Yeah,
behind.
right.
Mhm.
There's a way to do it where you can foster a kid's genius, whether that's science,
Mm,
whether the kid loves nature, so you spend most of your day outside. What would the world look like if all of our area of genius, whether it was art, whatever, was fostered? Like,
yeah.
what would it look like? Do you know what I mean?
Honestly,
Like,
I
we
think
would
as
all
a
be getting
society
paid to
we'd
do
be
what we
like
love.
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you see someone online that gets paid and they look like they love their freaking life and they're getting paid to do that thing, it's too good to be true. That's a scam. Meh, meh, meh. People
Hmm.
cannot handle the idea of you
Yeah.
getting paid to do what you love.
Mhm.
Why? That's not how we were, that's not how we were brought up. We were
Right.
supposed to get a paycheck, but it's not supposed to be fun. Like it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be
Right.
enjoyable. People
Yeah.
trip on
Because
Mm,
that.
it's work.
It's work.
yeah.
It's not supposed to, we're not supposed to be having a good time on a yacht making money. Like
Right.
what? No, that's a
Ed,
scam. Dang,
Ed.
can it be good though? Why
Yeah.
can't I show you how it can be good? That starts from childhood. That
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
from this kid loves science, so we're going to the museum, we're going to NASA, we're doing experiments all day. And guess
Right.
what? The
Yeah.
math that we're not so good at, when I put all the subjects out, guess what book she picks first? She picks math, which is
Mm,
Mm,
so odd to me because it's like not our strong suit, but we're enjoying it. We're making it fun.
mm.
mm,
The challenge is enjoyable versus I'm putting you down. You got that one wrong. We're not at the level we're supposed to be. She's still like enjoying the challenge and picking that versus the kid
You
who's gonna
know,
come home, bring the homework home and be like,
oh my
here's the
God.
math worksheet. I hate my life. My teacher said da, da,
yeah.
da, I got the D. There's no grades.
I got the D.
We don't need that.
Well, okay,
Like
because
You're bringing me
like
back to my
the
childhood.
I
trauma,
know. I
The
was just about
trauma,
to say,
like,
like,
of these
Nettie,
freaking
hold on.
grades. Get out of here.
Pause, because okay, first off, I have to note that I am in my menstrual cycle, checking that in because I'm literally getting emotional sitting here listening to this because it's traumatic. Like to be
Traumatic.
bullied.
Like,
Yeah,
traumatic. It is. I don't care what anybody calls
like
it. It's fucking traumatic. It
Yeah.
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It's
to be
awful.
told that you're less because you don't learn the way that they think you should is insane. And it's like that is the reason why it's so important to school our kids ourselves. Like not in the way that because we're trying to make them who we want to them to be. That's not it. Like we are trying to foster the things that they love and encourage them to serve people in that way. Like when you are brought up in public school, you are not taught to serve people. You like in that loving way that brings you true passion, like that brings glory to God, truthfully. Like I don't hate to bring it back to him, but like it's true. We're taught to be conformed, small, like, and we're just like our everything is just like
Yep.
it's so crazy. Like it makes
It's
me emotional. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's like also on the other note too, it's like, we're not just trying to like dog the school system and whatever, because there are certain I remember there were certain key teachers through my
I
schooling
remember these
experience.
teachers to this day. My fifth grade
Oh,
teacher
yeah.
made everything fun, made
Yes.
Mm,
everything,
Yep.
everything we learned. Whoa, I couldn't wait to go to school. And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah.
those are the
But then there's
magical
also
people.
those other teachers that follow the book, that they have that strict rigid like timeline, and there's no give, and those that's where the spark dies.
Hmm.
And then
Mm,
but it's like, also, I mean, they're not getting paid enough.
This is the thing.
yeah.
It's
I
the same.
never dog on teachers
Yeah.
because you're not set up to succeed.
Mm-mm.
30 kids. You ain't getting paid nothing. You ain't got resources. You don't have
Yeah.
time. You're tired. You're grading things after work. Like, I have teacher friends that are amazing human beings, but like they are not set up to succeed.
Mm-hmm. And a
Mm,
lot of the time they still have to come out of pocket to do those extra things for
Oh,
their,
of course.
and it's like,
It's just the system. That's the thing is like it's not about like anti-school. Like some moms are very like screw public school. It's the Satan. Da, da, da. Nah, it's not really. It's just that the system isn't
it should be better.
isn't producing the happy. Like I get comments
the
all the
fruit.
time.
Yeah.
My kid is so happy, and I'm like, why does that surprise people? Like why are we so taken aback by a kid who's confident, happy,
Mm.
like that she just has a sparkle in her eye. Like
Hmm.
I love life. And I see other kids the same age that are just like downtrodden at age 5. And I'm like, where did we go wrong? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dang, you know?
Mm,
Like as a
that's so crazy.
society, you
It kind
know,
of me of
I
like,
don't really know the roots too much, but I keep hearing that like school systems were set up to spit out workers, like some quote something to the extent of I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. So we set
absolutely.
up the school system and it's like that's what it spit out. I'm a good
Yeah.
worker. I work hard. I was not taught to think for myself. That came later in life. But guess what? Now
Yeah.
I get to do it different with my kid.
Mm.
My
Mm,
kid's a free thinker from the get. Like we're not
yeah.
waiting till our 30s like to
Oh, I
question
just
life.
got chills.
Dude, like
Yeah.
it's wild. Like man, like and then another thing that people say, like they're like, "Ooh, well, what a privilege that you get to homeschool." And I saw the statistics, and it's like people that homeschool don't make that much money. When you look at all the homeschoolers, they're not the Gucci moms with the Gucci bag. No, it's a homeschool mom. It's usually like with like a religious based person who just has a lot of conviction in that, and the husband works and they're on a tight budget, but it's
Mm,
something that's of high value for them. Like,
Yeah.
you know what
They
I mean?
yeah.
Like, if you want to
prioritize.
make it work, you will. It's not about like, oh, this person has more resources, so they get to do it. It just has to be like your conviction of this is more important than other things. You know what I mean?
That
Yeah.
part. I think in
The
that, like,
part.
that really, a lot of people that I speak to, like, trying to start this business, trying to start
Yeah.
with the magic. That is a lot of the key. It's like they think that their circumstances are their sentence, their life sentence. And it's like you have to, it's prioritizing, you want to keep your life the same because it's clearly not working for you
Hmm.
because you've expressed that to me.
Right.
I have a solution that can help you get out of it. Yes, it is going to take you to prioritize it, to maybe, take that leap of faith, to invest. But that is short term. The long run, you got to look at the long game. Is like,
Mm,
what is your life, once you do this, what is your life going to look like from, 5 years down the road
Right.
versus 10 down the road if you stay on this path that you are not, that you're complaining about, that's not working for you. You're
Right.
living paycheck
yeah.
to paycheck. So how about you try something different?
Hmm.
Because in order to get a different result, you have to take a different path.
Right.
And that's where it's like, also comes into the equation of like you can't want it more than they want it for themselves, which I
Right.
think is kind of tricky in this line of work. But it's like they just really have to prioritize that, like homeschooling. It like you said, it's not about us
You will make a way,
doing.
whatever it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
It really,
yes,
truly, like like my mom, my friend started having kids at 16, like she didn't have supportive parents. She ended up with her master's. She had 3 kids, single mom. Like, come on, got her master's anyway. If you want it, you can have it. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen too
And
many
it's
examples of like it's just possible. Like
and Nettie, you're like, you will make a way, and it's not
you
even like
will
you
make
will,
a
because
way.
that might be cloudy for some moms on here currently. It's like you can't just make the way, you have to make the way. Like in order to see the change, you have to do it, and you have to step into the like, okay, I guess this is where I'm going. I have to have full faith in the fact that this is going to work out for me,
mm,
even if there's some disruption that follows what I'm intending to do, you know? Like that's the thing is like you have to do it. You can't just stay where you are and expect everything to change around you if you're not going to be the one to change, you know?
ab-
Like,
There's a quote for me that hits anytime I hear it, anytime. And it's something to the effect of whether you think you can or you don't, you're right.
mm-hmm,
You are. If
yeah,
you don't think you can do it, absolutely. You're not going anywhere. But
right. It's
if you think you
gonna be,
can, same deal.
yeah,
yeah.
Like,
Like it's equally as one-sided as the one side of paper you're looking at. Like that's another thing to just give a point of perspective. There is no one-sided coin. There's no one-sided piece of bread. There's no one-sided piece of paper. There's always an other side to what you're thinking is the only way it's gonna not work out for you. Like if you're thinking, okay, I could never be an entrepreneur, I could never work online, like I just have to pay my bills. This is how life's got to be, like I couldn't homeschool my kids because XYZ, like all of those reasons are very valid, very, very valid, especially to your current situation. But what about the other side? Like flip the table and just think optimistically for a second and
and
don't
look
be
at the
like,
examples of people in
mhm,
your same situation that said, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna do it anyway.
yeah,
mm,
right.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
okay, I'm gonna
Like
make
when
it
like
work.
the thing that says like if she can, I can. Like
yeah,
it's giving you plain examples of look at this person in your same situation, financial, whatever, divorce, whatever, and tell me why you're any different than that person. It like, it kind of shuts up your ego a little bit. Like,
mm,
Yeah. And
oh
if
yeah, I
you
had all
are
these
in the
excuses,
position,
but Molly went and did it anyway. Like,
yeah,
what
like
is it now? Like,
and
why
if
can't I
you
do it
are
again?
in that position too, like where you're seeing somebody doing it and you're like, I can't do that. The reason why you're seeing them do it is because God's trying to say, like, that could be you if you just said yes, right? Like, you're sitting here saying, no, 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 limiting yourself. But the reason why that person's in your life, the reason why you even have those feelings or emotions towards that certain person or the person doing the thing is because that is your heart's desire to do the
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
And it's like
Absolutely.
you either have to decide yes or no.
Mhm.
Like it's you can't just be like, oh, I can never do that and
The
just
mindset work,
continuously wish and want. Yeah.
the mindset work
Yeah.
is, I mean, I've been doing it for years, to be honest. Like, it's not a walk in the park. It's not saying some affirmations, like, and rubbing some crystals. Like, it really truly is rewiring your brain
Yeah.
because we are set on autopilot. We do the same things, we eat the same things, we have the
Mm-hmm.
same thoughts over and over and over. To disrupt that is not easy by any means,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell when entrepreneurs have caused the disruption because their business starts popping. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, da 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 da, she just started and she's having so many sales." You don't know what she's been doing for years.
Yeah.
She just popped off because she's been working on her mindset for 5 years low key.
Mm, yeah.
Like, you
All
know what I
the
mean?
Yeah.
all the unsexy, all the
Offline,
yep,
crying.
behind the
Like,
Mm-hmm.
scenes, the
yeah,
breakdowns, all of it.
Yeah.
Like there's only a few, certain people that will actually ever show that part too.
right.
And
Yeah.
I
most and
like
that's
that
why
new thing on Instagram where it's like Instagram isn't real or something, and then people will put
No,
like,
for real.
I'm depressed. I'm actually on
Mm-hmm.
antidepressants. I just lost my house. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the thing that's like we're all on the struggle bus,
Mm-hmm.
but some of us are rising above it.
mm,
Like
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
gets
It's
out
all
of
about
this life without struggle. It's just not true.
right.
Even like
right.
the multimillionaires in our business have done this trend. And I'm like, I saw her speaking on a stage in Japan, and I was like, man, life must be good for her. And she did it. And she's like, someone's trying to bring my entire empire down with, saying bad things about me. I cried for 30 minutes before I got on stage. I'm like, you don't know people's lives. You
Yeah.
don't
No.
know everyone has their struggle. Everyone. Like
But the
you think
Yeah.
you're
difference
special
between
with
those
your struggle?
people,
You're
yeah,
not.
yeah. The difference
You're not.
The
between those
diff
people and the people that stay stuck is that yes, they had the breakdown, but they didn't let it stop them.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, you know what? I'm going to show up regardless because
Mm-hmm.
I'm worth it.
Yep.
mm,
That's the difference is that you have to know that you are worth it. You have to know that you are so deserving and to just do it anyway. And
and that's what brings the value back to homeschooling, back to instilling these kind of values in our children, because us, like the people that we're, our clients that we're helping and bringing through this mindset shift have to be rewired. Like you're operating out of your 0 to 7 year old because you've been programmed to think that you're not worthy, you're not capable, you're not able to do anything. And it's like, that's not true. And this is the reason why we do it. And this is the reason why we homeschool, because homeschooling, we can actually teach our kids that they are worthy, that they can do the thing. Like they don't have to be afraid. They don't have to like second guess themselves because of society or because of their circumstance. Like,
Can you
you
imagine
know,
like how expedited their lives will be?
yeah,
How
mm,
like, yeah, I do work and I get paid for it and I have fun and I enjoy it. What?
it's
Like,
going to be the normal. Yeah, it's going
how
to be the normal.
crazy will
and for
that be?
us, for our generation who is like we're basically doing the unlearning for them. We're doing
Mm,
the unschooling. We're doing the rewriting the limiting beliefs. And for me, whenever I have like those moments of like overthink, doubt, and like, oh my God, can I actually do this? Like, I go back to I'm doing it because I want him to be able to, like, I want to expedite his process
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
yeah,
I don't want him to be held back the way that I was. I don't want him to feel the unworthiness that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm,
whatever it takes, I'm going to do it so that
yeah.
he can it'll just be second nature for him.
Yep.
We're healing the
He won't have to
trauma.
move. Yeah, we're healing that. And like, I also think too, as parents, we through our kids, I think that we also find that healing for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And not, we can't put that pressure on them, of course, because that can get muddy. But I think that there is a sense of healing
Mm-hmm.
for us that we get to do this for them.
Mm,
Then we can just watch them like just soar, and it's like, fuck yeah, Like it was all
And
worth
then we
it.
get to be, yeah, we get to be the start of that for the generations to come, like with our family. Like when our kids have kids and our kids' kids have kids, they're going to be instilled with such strong values. Like they're not going to be conformed, mindless workers that are like just sad and
It's
depressed and don't
crazy.
realize their true power. Like, you know?
It's okay. I've seen this. I think I posted it years ago on Facebook, and it's like this is not like specific to like trauma, but like just the pattern, right? Of like what we were handed down from our grandparents, or whatever. And it's not that we're perfect or like our kids aren't gonna make errors, but like it's like these matches all, being lit, and then one match is like lower and it's like unavailable to continue the pattern. And it's like,
Mm,
whoo, we're not just doing that with one thing, we're doing it with so many things that like, wow,
yeah.
yeah.
1000%
Mm.
lighting the
I feel
torch.
like that's a good place to just like, I don't know, what do you guys think?